In today's video, we're going to be talking about buyer's agents. And I am a buyer's agent. I actually run a buyer's agency here in Brisbane called Purpose Property. But specifically, I want to break down what is a buyer's agent, how much do they charge, and where is the value proposition in using a buyer's agent. A buyer's agent is someone who's an advocate for the buyer in a real estate transaction. Now, this is really popular in America, but not so popular here in Australia. But over the last few years, there's been more and more buyer's agents popping up in the Australian market, and I see it becoming a more normal thing where people are busy living their everyday lives, off to work, 5 days, 6 days a week, and using a buyer's agent who's an expert at helping them secure a property is going to give them value. So essentially, a buyer's agent is on the other side of the transaction when compared to a selling agent. Now, your buyer's agent needs to have a real estate license, and each state is going to have their own licensing. Now, let's talk about fee structures. There are two main ways buyer's agents charge for their services. You either have a fixed fee system or you have a percentage of the purchase price. Now, there's pros and cons to each pricing strategy. In the percentage price system, obviously if you pay more for the property, you're going to need to pay more for the buyer's agent service. But the percentage system is a very common way of people charging fees because higher priced properties can generally mean more work, more square footage, more expensive areas, and therefore a higher price in terms of the buyer's agent fee. You also have the fixed fee system, which works great if you want to know exactly what you're going to pay, but also you've got to be aware of low cost fixed fee buyer's agents who aren't really doing much work and just pushing properties to you through a funnel, or they have a relationship with a developer and they're going to get a kickback in addition to their fixed fee. Now, any and all fees that the buyer's agent is receiving either directly or indirectly from the transaction should be disclosed to you in the contract. So just make sure that your buyer's agent isn't getting an additional fee that hasn't been disclosed. If they do disclose it to you, then it should be very clear that if they're getting a payment for additional advertising or if they're getting a payment from a property manager, that has been disclosed to you if it's part of that real estate transaction. Now, you can find our fees on our website at purposeproperty.com.au, and we actually use a mix of fixed fee pricing and then the percentage model for the higher priced properties. So from 0 to 700,000, we charge a total fee of $14,000. Now, the way we charge that money is we charge $4,400 up front, and then we charge the remainder when the purchase goes unconditional. The reason we charge a fee or the final fee when the property goes unconditional is a buyer's agent doesn't actually collect a deposit when the property purchase is occurring. And so from the buyer's agent's point of view, they want to make sure they're collecting that fee when you're committed to making that purchase, and they're able to get those funds prior to settlement. So for purchases up to $700,000, our business charges $4,400 up front. We'll then do a buying brief session. We'll then take the client through the search phase. And then from there, when the client is successful in purchasing a property and they've passed their building and pest clause and they've passed their finance clause and they're now unconditional, that's when we charge $9,600, so $14,000 in total. We then have a tiered system. So from $700,000 to $1 million, we charge $17,000 in total. And from $1 million to $1.3, we charge $20,000 in total. Then over the $1.3 million mark, we charge a total fee of 1.75% of the purchase price, including GST. So that's where we have a mix of the fixed price system and a percentage price for our fees, depending on the purchase price of the property. So let's talk about the value proposition of a buyer's agent. It's all well and good to know what they do and how much buyer's agents charge, but what is the value proposition? For me, when you use a buyer's agent, you're leveraging their time, their knowledge, and their skills to help you secure the right property for the right price in the right location. In my opinion, I think a buyer's agent should be a local area expert. There are a lot of other buyer's agents that buy across Australia. Now, the question is, are they going to have a competitive advantage to you doing the same thing at home if they're sitting at their desktop and they're buying properties across Australia? They might be doing it full time, so they have more time invested and more resources at their disposal. So you've got to consider that. But for me and our business at Purpose Property, we've made a decision to be local area experts here in Southeast Queensland. And hey, maybe we'll expand broader towards the Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, but I still want to be boots on the ground and physically inspecting the properties with myself and the team, and that's why we've chosen to be local area experts. A buyer's agent should bring you significant value. They should be an expert in negotiating, and they should be able to pinpoint through market analysis where a value of a property sits. Now, value is always going to be in a range, and generally, selling agents are going to be 50 grand higher than where a buyer's agent values the property. There's always that push and pull between what selling agents are asking for in terms of the property and where a buyer's agent might see value. But another major consideration is actually finding the right property. Yes, you want to try and buy below market value or buy with inherent value in the property, but for different buyers, there's going to be different properties that suit their buying criteria. That's why we take the time with our clients to go through the price, the strategy, the suburbs, the property specifics, and the red flags when it comes to making a purchase for them. We want to look at both the quantitative and the qualitative data that helps make an informed decision. For example, Emily and I have just made a purchase in the last month, and we're going to be dropping a series on YouTube, so you better subscribe down below in the next 6 months, which will take you through the exact detail of why we made that property purchase and where we saw the value. Now, that property needs significant renovation work, and so that really suits our personal strategy. So we might have been willing to pay a little bit more for that property than another buyer, because we see the value potential in what we can do or create with that property. So that's something else to consider, is that different buyers are going to see different value on different properties. And a buyer's agent should help you unpack what suits you and what suits your buying criteria. At the end of the day, I've always said that you don't need a buyer's agent. But a buyer's agent can bring significant value to you if you're short on time, if you want to leverage their knowledge and skills, or you want a sounding board to help you make that right property purchase decision. Another thing to consider is that buyer's agent fees are considered a capital acquisition cost. So say you bought a property for $800,000 here in Southeast Queensland and you used our services at Purpose Property, and we charge you a total fee of $17,000, split $4,400 up front and $12,600 on success. From the ATO's point of view, the buyer's agent fees are called a capital acquisition cost. So if you've bought this property as an investment, you actually add the capital acquisition cost or the buyer's agent fees to your cost base for that investment property purchase. That means your cost base is actually $817,000 because you paid $800,000 for the house and $17,000 in terms of the buyer's agent fees. So say sometime later you go and sell that property for $1 million, you'll actually be able to reduce your capital gains tax because the buyer's agent fee was included in the cost base for that property purchase. For me, it all comes back to the value proposition. Whether you use my services in our buyer's agency at Purpose Property, or you choose to work with another buyer's agent across Australia, the most important thing is that you have the value proposition there, that they're bringing you value in terms of saving you time, helping you acquire the right asset, whether it's your own home or an investment property, and they can also journey with you. That's another thing that I'm really an advocate for, is that we don't just help people with the individual purchase, we can talk around the overall financing strategy. I have a background and I am a chartered accountant with CA Australia. So you can leverage my skills and resources around the finances and strategy and structuring and get access to our network of accountants, mortgage brokers, and different trades to help you in your property journey. So that's another thing a buyer's agent should be able to provide, is that holistic approach around your property portfolio, as well as connecting you with the right people along the way. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below as to whether you think buyer's agents are going to take over in Australia like it is happening in the American market, where buyer's agents will become more and more normal in real estate transactions. If you want to see some addresses revealed for some recent client purchases that we've made here in Brisbane, then make sure you click this playlist over here. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.